Distinguished guests, I would like to invite our esteemed speakers to the stage. First of all, I would like to say welcome to each and every one of you. I would like to apologize on behalf of the board because of the delay. There's another session in the Red Hall with the participation of the minister. As you all know, this is one of the most interesting sessions about the maximizing efficiency in onshore wind farm operation and maintenance, and they do have effect on the life of the fleet, and I think this is the most critical part of this world. We like doing this job and we have long years of experiences in this very field. If you allow me, we will have 2 rounds in this session. You know the speakers on the stage, but I would like to give them the floor to introduce themselves very briefly, and then we are going to have 2 rounds of talks. Thank you very much for your understanding once again. First of all, let me start with you, Ahmet Bey, Zorlu Energy, as this technique with their new brand. Ahmet Bey, the floor is yours. Then we will continue with Ferit Bey. Hi, welcome. I'm Ahmet Yilmaz. I'm the group director in ZES Technique, and we are working on the renewal of the main elements of the wind turbines. Güney Özaltan, Tekday Composite. I'm the director. You know, Hyper Composite is producing the blades, but we're also manufacturing the we are also doing the maintenance services of the blades that we manufacture, and I'm the director of that group. Welcome, Ferit Yeşilay in Nordex Turkey and Middle East Service Director. Gürkan Çelik in Enercon. I'm working as a post-sales director. Enercon, as you all know, we are dealing with turbine sales and turbine maintenance services for a long time, and I'm working in the after-sales department as the head of the department. Welcome. Hi, my name is Cenk Öztürk, Exim Energy Plant Operations Director. Thank you very much for your participation. I hope this session is going to be beneficial for all the participants. We thank you to distinguished speakers. Now I would like to leave the floor to Güney Bey, because we have investors among us, we have manufacturers among us, and Güney Bey, as TPI Composite, they are producing the blade, and then insurance, maintenance, and guarantee services they are providing. Could you please elaborate on your services and your operational system? Thank you very much, Güney Bey. Thank you. As TPI, our main job is to manufacture the blades. In India, in Mexico, in the United States, in Turkey, we do have factories. Last year, we produced 1,000 sets, 3,000 blades, 1,000 turbines. 3,500 employees work in our factories. As mentioned by Cem Bey yesterday, this is a cycle. the employment increases as we produce. We employ many people and we produce this technology in Turkey. Besides that, the task of the department that I'm the head of, field services, mainly the blades. In Turkey and in global platform, we are maintaining and repairing the blades from Chile, from Mexico, Vietnam, mostly in Europe. We are active in maintenance and repair services. And in Turkey, we have a team of 85 people. And our advantage in the blade business is that we do have 200 engineers and we are producing the blades in our own factories and we have vast experience in this field and we're managing these maintenance and repair services with these teams. Our most important feature of our company is the matter of training. We are providing our employees with trainings because sometimes we have to repair the blades in the factory as well. And in the infrastructure of the trainings, we do have capability and compatibility matrices and we are providing them with the certificates and this is an important topic in Turkey and I will go into detail in the next round about these certificates. Now I would like to turn to Gürkan Bey from Enerco company. We would like to have an interactive session. Therefore, our manufacturer, then investor, then technical service, etc. We will continue in this sequence. Gürkan Bey, turbines, you're completing the sales, the investors are making choices. But then in after sales period, we need good service, the stocks, etc. Enercon, how do they manage after sales services? Could you please elaborate on that? Of course. Thank you. Before answering, let me talk about Enercon first. We are getting ready to the increasing capacity. In Enercon was established in 1984 and we are a leader company in the sector and we are providing services in 10, 15 different models. And this company of 40 years, in 1990, Alize German power plant was the first project, and then in 2010, 100% Enerco company as a local company. We have been active in this field with this experience of 40 years, and as mentioned by Alev, you need to have a very strong service network. As Enercon at this stage in Turkey, we do have 22 different service centers. We have about 200 service mechanics and we need to have a very good stock management so that the guaranteed services can be provided to our customers. As Enercon, for 15 years, 20 years, as the sizes of the turbines increase, 25 years service will be given to our customers. We will have that capacity. Stock management, as stated by Ali Bey, and preventive maintenance services. We are doing them very actively and we do have preventive approach without having any failure in the turbines, and Enercon has been making lots of investments in this field. Recently, along with the AI, Enercon has made various breakthroughs A failure in a part, for example, we can detect it before it happens. The blades, the tower, or the generator, if there might be a failure, then we're going to have an AI product which will detect it before it happens. And it has a crucial value for the customers making investments in this regard. And Icon is aware of this fact, and I think we will have many innovative products in this field. Thank you very much. As you talk, I'm revising my questions and I'm taking my notes. Gürkan Bey, thank you very much once again. Let's continue with Ahmet Bey from Zest Teknik. A new logo, a new brand, but we have our experts here. I see the experts, reputable people who have been working in the wind energy for long years. This is a commercial enterprise and a technical operation with their lead. Could you please inform us what you do as Zest Technic, your capacity, your workshop, what kind of services do you provide? Could you please elaborate briefly on these topics? Thank you very much, Ali Bey. As Zest Technic, we are a new company in the auspices of Zorlu Holding. We are going to be renewing the main equipment of the wind turbines, and we would like to provide maintenance service to the fields. And main beds and gearbox, we are renewing them. And 5,000 square meter we have invested, and it's still going on. And laser CNC equipments have been taken for the maintenance purpose, and 7 gigabyte gearbox and main bed capacity is going to be increased. Ahmet Bey, we have our turbine manufacturers, we have investors, and their equipments in the fleets, the main components which require maintenance and repair. And in our audience, we do have many suppliers and service providers as this technique. Of course, you have had long years of experience. When you're asked for such services, what kind of services can you provide? Let's say that a main bat with a major operation, can you take it from upwards and bring it to your facility, the revisions and the maintenance, and then can you do that in a turnkey fashion, or do you assembly it in the field? Could you please inform us about it? We do have two plans. We are working with the manufacturers. The equipment coming to our workshop, it is renewed and we send it back. And our second plan is working with the producers, the owner of the farm. We take it from the turbine, we renew it completely, and then we assemble it in the turbine again. This is the service that we can provide. Thank you very much. Now, Exim Energy, Cenk Bey, I would like to continue with you. We have our producers, the manufacturers, the service maintenance companies, representatives are here. In Balıkesir, we organized a workshop, and in this workshop, we invited different brands, different turbine producers in one table. In the past, it wasn't easy to bring together the competitors because at the beginning of the sector, there was a differentiation, segregation, I mean. But the market is coming to a certain point that we have to plan the things all together in order to find solutions to our challenges. If we don't do so, then foreign countries, especially from the Far East, they will be manipulating the market in terms of the price and the technical operations, so and so forth. We are trying to be the voice of our investors. We are communicating their messages to the manufacturers, and we are the service providers. We are trying to fill in the gap, and our investors agreements with the producers and long-term agreements and their own operations and their technical operations, they sold them on their own, and I think it is of great importance for the management of such big capitals. Cenk Bey, Exim Energy has been in the sector for a long time, and you have a very good organization. You have different types of farms, different types of turbines. Could you please elaborate on your general operations, your style of management, your closeness to the technology? Ali Bey, first of all, I would like to present my thanks to you and Turep for your kind invitation, for bringing us together. It's very valuable, and you have been exerting great efforts for so many years, the members of the board of Turep and Trek, and I would like to thank you for that. Let me talk about Exim Energy very briefly. I think it's going to be healthier. Currently, 2088 megawatt, which is operational and also which is going to be operational in close future. In Turkey right now, we have 8 wind farms which are currently operated and 1 hydro power plant in the northern sea region. And in Georgia, we do have 2 hydropower plants active as Exim, not only in Turkey, but also outside the Turkey. We are trying to grow. We are trying to become a global company. In the current situation, we do have new licenses and projects that we have undertaken in Georgia and in Turkey, especially in the battery group. We are going to be establishing new plans, and we are targeting at implementing them in the short run. And our executive board is willing to implement them as soon as possible. As you mentioned, we are all one family, not only as an investor, but also as an investor company, the manufacturer of the turbine, and also third party, the service provider companies. All the professionals in the sector are the shareholders, and it makes us as a family. Pertaining to this matter, you make us remember this fact, and when we gather like this, maybe the topics might be handled from different perspectives and different windows, and I think it is contributing hugely to each and every one of you. As the sector, there are lots of matters to discuss about the efficiency of the turbines, and I'm sure that the experts will talk about their fields of expertise. But from my own window, I have 2 important items that are worth mentioning. Our sector is growing very fast, and as you stated in Balıkesir, we held a conference, and I think it was quite beneficial, and it was participated by many, and we hope to see the continuation of such workshops. I think everyone enjoyed the program in Balıkesir, and I underlined, especially in Balıkesir, and I do that everywhere, us with green color, we need to come up with a definition. In our sector, we're having great challenges for about finding qualified labor force. I'm sure other companies do have the similar problems. This is the general challenge of the sector, finding qualified personnel. I'm not talking about the numbers, I'm quantity. I'm talking about quality of the personnel. We are trying to provide the repair and maintenance services with the existing personnel. And with the manufacturer company, we do have a joint concept that we manage together. And the personnel we have, each and every day, they need to be developing themselves because the sector is renewing itself on a continuous basis. And as a result, you're giving them the $1 million equipments to these labor force. And we will start with our own labor force first, and the suppliers, third-party companies, the manufacturers, we need to train more qualified personnel. And on Exim side, what do we do? Let me inform you about it. And before that, let me give you some numbers.
Yüzün üstünde bir
We, as XM Energy, are working with around 200 personnel. Like you can see on this slide, we have all. This is a sector which is in need of a educated workforce, and we see it also in this environment because this is an industry which has to be supported by people who have absolved university. And in terms of workforce, blue-collar workforce, we don't receive them also from the vocational education. So to bridge this problem, we started two programs, one of which is the Young Energy Program. We are continuing it in the last 3 years, and we have in this scope we added young talent into this sector, into this industry, and they are now a highly qualified workforce, and I would like to thank them as well here. And they have, and we didn't stop there because also in regards of blue-collar workers, there is a need to support the vocational education. So in the areas where our wind farms are or our solar farms are standing, we looked at the vocational education schools and thought about how we can support the schools and their programs. And one of the first outputs of this program is in the region Merzifon-Tokat. We took some of the students that were sent by us by their schools and put them into the company, and we started working with them. So we are not only, you are only as strong as your workforce is. So that's why we have to support each other so we can develop this industry, this sector furthermore. So, Cenk Bey, next question is, you are talking about a technical personnel of 200 people, and not all of these personnel is working on the field maybe, but I want to bring the word to one of the main manufacturers, Nordex. So if you have 200 people working on your workforce, what is the number for Nordex? Ferit Bey, can you give me a number? Because 200 personnel for the investor is a pretty good human resource. So you have different service areas, and you're giving quality assurance and service and maintenance services. So what is the situation in your company? Can you give us some numbers? Maybe we can switch over to my presentation so we have also some optical data. So Nordex Group is working in Turkey since 2008, and since 2017 we have the largest market share on turbine manufacturers. So we have 1,200 different turbines, around 2 megawatts, and our service personnel is everywhere around Turkey, and these are responsible for the service and maintenance, and we have also quality assurance teams, and the know-how is also given to them by our educational department, and we have an educational department or a team for the spare parts. And we are servicing with 360 personnel. So the development in Nordex Turkey, there are some milestones we have to underline. 2008 was the first startup of our first generator, and Akres Central was 2011, and 2015 Nordex and Axion merged. Before the first project of Axion before 2015, and with the merger in 2016, there was a need, of course, of national manufacturing. So the towers and the generators and the blades are produced here in Turkey, and we have a service portfolio of 4 gigawatts and 360 maintenance personnel. So over 5 gigawatts, we see some wind turbines over 5 gigawatts who are in service, and we see a Western concentration of our wind farms, but also in the last couple of years, we see a growing potential, growing portfolio in Middle Anatolia and East Anatolia, and Nordex. This will also be a potential for Nordex as well as for other companies. Thank you. So Ahmet Bey, another question I'm curious about. For example, when can our investors, for example, apply to you for service, or are there different brands for gearbox? Do you have accreditation for different type of gearboxes? Because I know that you have. Maybe you want to elaborate on that. Or direct manufacturers, turbine manufacturers, are you working on their side? Can you open up this area a little bit for us? So I want to come very quick to the point. So 2009, we established a field of 2.5 megawatts, and we added 28 Vestas in 2013. And since 2011, we are doing the maintenance and repairs of our systems. So since starting with day one, we are servicing our own farms. So also, since we had with the main equipment also problems with our main equipment, so we decided to produce also the main equipment ourselves. So the converter systems and the electronic parts of these converter systems are also produced in-house. So the answer to your question is we built a big workshop, and we have a certification here. We're working with Schaeffler here together, and we have a world standard repair, and Minergie, Bosch, gearbox, and our main bearings, for example. All of these parts can be serviced and repaired here. So what do we have right now? We have already repaired 22 gearboxes who are working on our fields and also on the fields of our customers, and we also repaired 8 main bearings. So this shows us that we can do this. Not we are going to do it, but we can do it. So our equipment is active on the field, working on the field. So this is important. And we added also a predictive AI to find out whether or not or when a failure can appear. and try to lower the maintenance costs. So we did a lot of investment. We bought a CNC and a laser coating device. And for next year, we're planning to have a gearbox test unit who can test gearboxes with up to 7 megawatts. Thank you. And I can see also from this data that this is a very important enterprise that you are doing. And on your side, these developments, we could follow these developments for the last couple of years. And together with Ali Bey, with Oktay Bey, you also put some added value into this sector. And on the technical personnel and also on the maintenance side, you did a lot for this sector. So there are also other enterprises similar to yours, and I'm aware that maintenance and engineering is very important, and the price should be a little lower in the importance. But also with this change in conjuncture, we are seeing that the price is getting more and more important. And this is something we don't wish for our industry, because the work that has been done has to be supported as well. So we should be in a competition not by price but by quality and by engineering. So this is why enterprises like yours is so important for Turkey and also on the global scale, because do you receive also maintenance and repair queries from abroad? Yes. And the reason why we founded this was that to build here a maintenance company for main components of wind power plants for Turkey and also for abroad. And this is also our goal, and I hope that we will reach this goal year by year. So this is also hopeful for us, because it's a national company, a Turkish company, and this is great what you're doing. So TPI is your company is already, although in Turkey, it's an international company. So you also talked about the human resources side, and you can see it. We can see it as a kind of a school, and especially when it comes to your products, on the side of the investors, on the side of the customers. Are there people who are interested in getting a training from you, and can you give them also a service and maintenance which is outside of the guarantee clause? So we are working on 2 levels in Turkey. We are responsible for the repair of the blades we are manufacturing. So when there is a problem on the side of Nordex, for example, with our blades, we go and do the repairs there in the warranty time. And also outside of the warranty time, we are repairing also the blades. So on the training side, we are at this point in time where we are giving a lengthy training for repair, and we have a training center, and there is constantly trainings there for repairs, and all of our workforce has been trained there. And the manufacturing of blades is a very difficult sector, because when you have an operation in in a plant, for example, in a car plant, for example, you can produce in 1 minute one operation, and if when you are repeating this for 60 times a day, for example, then this personnel learns, of course, these steps very easily. But we are doing not as much repairs, so these trainings has to be much more extensive, and they have to be able to repair these blades with a tolerance of millimeters. So for each operation, we have indicators for efficiency and correctness, and we are also testing our personnel after their training, so we have a more standardized repair and maintenance process. So standardization is key here. And the certification of our training center is what will follow in very shortly. After the certification, we will because we want a standardization, so that's why we need a certification, and this will have a huge added value to our industry, because like you said, this ecosystem, this is important for the whole ecosystem. Yesterday, we talked about that the repair costs are high, but when you look at it from the seasonal perspective, when in July the season starts, and with the cold seasons, the season ends, then you are going into a lower production time of the year. So there you can do trainings and repairs. To get to this efficiency, the whole ecosystem has to be planned, and everybody should be involved in this planning so that we can continue this work with minimum cost. Because if we don't do this, the profitability will go down with competition. So that's why we need more efficiency. So the repairs that will be done by our colleagues have to be effective and fast. But not only it doesn't end with repairs, but also our engineers go and check the repair, and this is also a part of the process. Especially the SCI is a process which has been done by the engineers, so that's why training is of utmost importance. And also from the total efficiency side, we need a long-term planning, and this will help everybody in the industry. Yeah, Ferit Bey, you have like in TPI a third party which give you maintenance and operational services, and we are audited, I know, and after an audit we can work with your company, and we have to always be up to date. So from the side of the human resources and on the side of the certification, our third-party companies are here seen as investors, and the commercial numbers and the level of engineering can sometimes be not in accordance with each other. And what is your strategy in terms of maintenance and repair in this regard? Because we see that the prices are going up and the economy is getting in through dire straits, and we can see it also in our costs on all companies, and this lowers the profitability, of course. So for a sustainable value chain and supply chain, is there a difference between Turkey and abroad? And how does your company look at this subject? Yes, sometimes the priorities can clash here. you are correct, and this comes from the pressure of the price pressures. But when we're talking about a service quality, this means a total quality. So giving a service cheaper, which does not fulfill a certain level of quality, brings added risks with it in the mid to long term. So our company has looked for alternatives and supported alternatives since 2009, 2011. So companies like yours who were dependent on services from abroad started to use our services, and this gave us the opportunity to be effective on operational side and also on the cost side. We hope that we can continue this, but like you said as well, we have to reach a certain level of quality next to the prices, and working with subcontractors, working with suppliers, and that's why we are doing evaluations, trainings, and audits with these companies. We have a training center in Izmir, and we are training not only our personnel from Nordex, also from the workforce. We're training also the workforce from our investors and our suppliers to raise the total quality of the industry. Only after passing these steps can a company be a service provider. So increasing the amount of national manufacturing is important and that's why we are trying to strengthen the resources inland. So we built an Izmir repair center where we are repairing the electronic and the mechanical components. And there are a couple of companies where we can do main repairs in Turkey, and we are trying to analyze what can be done here in Turkey and what has to be sent abroad. So, and also the effect on our service structure. And using this analysis, we are trying to support and train our suppliers.
We are not only talking about the service and maintenance, we do have companies providing engineering services in order to increase efficiencies along with the AI and the new technologies. There are companies trying to increase the availability of the turbines. If you do have any questions, we would be more than happy to answer them and ask them to the shareholders, related shareholders. There is a report about the maintenance and repair document, and these are the outputs of the workshop of Balıkesir. And in the days to come, the ecosystem in Turkey, I think the most critical part of this ecosystem, service, maintenance, and engineering companies' inventory is going to be prepared. This is asked by the manufacturers, and especially in the Eastern European region, there is a lack of labor force. Therefore, with your support, your company introduction should be provided to the association coordination. We would be more than happy to your contribution. So I just wanted to inform you about the activities of the association. I think Enercon has passed to a new system. Let's continue with you. Enercon was a closed system, according to us. From the supply point, from the service point, it was used less, and they continued because of their strategies. But in the last year, they made some changes, and slowly they adopted a strategy to make use of the values. There might be cost pressure or different choices and preferences, but for us and for you, I think it is an important resource. This resource, how did you plan your program for 2025 and onwards? and about the machinery, the fleets, what kind of demands are you going to have from the companies? How are you going to manage the after sales process? Could you please inform us about them? Of course, I can. You touched upon an important point. Enercon was a closed box, as you stated. Each component was produced in Germany and they were sending to the rest of the world from Germany. The most important element was the yeka. Along with the yeka, we produced the generator for the first time in Turkey with a partner, and the blades we started to produce them in TPI. Enercon, as a Turkey, their approach to Turkey has changed a lot, very positively, and I think everybody has a contribution in it. After sales department has pioneered a customer portfolio and the services that we are going to provide them with for 20-25 years, it should be at a certain level, quality level, and the local manufacturers, the turbine manufacturers, their services, it affects the quality that they provide as Enercon, not only as components, but also about many spare parts. We conduct researches, whether we can supply them from Turkey or not. And while doing so, the Enercon partner concept, the service contract, we are not we are trying to give a seamless service, but there's an important point here to mention. Along with the turbine manufacturers and the locally manufacturing companies, they couldn't have a perfect coordination. And in our session in Balıkesir, we discussed the same matter. What needs to be done here is that the turbine producers, what do they expect from the local manufacturing companies? And they would like to learn about the equipments that they notice. They don't know about them. And that coordination between the two, we need to be eliminating this problem between the two sides. And then, if we can do that, the local manufacturing is going to be more in the days to come. I'm sure about it. And in 2025, right now, Enercon as local manufacturer, we do have a turbine, but we would like to diversify our portfolio. Not Enercon Germany, not Enercon Turkey. I think the ones that they will do that are altogether the local manufacturers. And we are setting out for a way in Turkey by trusting them, the local manufacturers, how local manufacturers can support Enercon. We will come up with a plan very soon, and we will support the local manufacturing at the highest level. This is one of the biggest targets of Enercon Turkey. Thank you very much. Not only Nordex and Enercon, our desire is to talk about other fleets, other international brands. I think we do have other companies to discuss this matter with. Now I would like to turn to Exim Energy once again. Two, I think three manufacturers, right? When we add the blade manufacturer, the investors, you. How do you benefit from these processes? Are there any points of development, improvement? The producers do have the scopes of the service maintenance. Zest Technique, for example, they can provide service for many components of the turbines, and there are also many other companies in the audience that can provide service, but there's a limitation. Within the framework of the premium contracts, our producers at a certain level, they take care of some part of the business, and through the shareholders like ourselves, they provide that service. Do you have external demands, direct demands, or is there any fleet that you manage? How do the investors approach to these matters? On Scheffler, on Zest Technique, a component, let's say, is going to be repaired, or can you evaluate that on the revision side or on the UTM side? Are there different demands? Cenk Bey, could you please answer this question? Our talk is going towards a different way. I think we need to talk about the things that we can't talk. The HR, you know, we are here focusing on these matters. We have to talk about these matters. We have to negotiate these matters. We need to come to that level. Ferit Bey, we will be friends. Don't forget that. As stated by Ferit Bey and Gürkan Bey, made me change the direction of my talk. We opened up a separate agenda. Before the producers, manufacturers, as the investors, we ask the local supply chains to be maximized because it's going to be a gain for the investor. We need to have a commercial perspective. A material that will be brought from Germany, its cost is going to be on the producer and also on the investor. We can't save time, we can't maximize the energy that we can produce. Therefore, during our discussions with Ferit Bey, the third-party companies, I try to introduce him to them because we want them to be a value within the supply chain. As I stated earlier, when we have a failure in the equipment, if we are going to wait for the response from the German engineering company or from Spain, from China, if we are going to wait for the material, then that is the waste of the national assets. Because we do have the wind and we can't use it. And the money that we are expected to pay to other countries, if we can pay it to our local supply chain, they will have more resources to work on their R&Ds. We are well aware of these facts, and we are trying to be meticulous about supporting these matters. As for the study conducted by Zorlu, I had a chance to discuss this matter with them as well. I really like their study, and I hope that it's going to be successful and it's going to scale up. Both Nordex and the other manufacturing companies, I feel that they have the urge to work with them, and I hope that it's going to bring high added value outputs. And when we look at the point that we are, the ages of the turbines are quite high. We are trying to operate the turbines with 10 years and older. The breakdowns started to increase, and we have our operations very frequently in the field to repair them. Where does this process go? I think there is a burden coming towards us, and it's going to be even more. In order to decrease them, the producers in Turkey, the service providers, and also the inspection and repair services or gearbox inspections in these processes, third-party companies should be empowered. Thank you very much. In addition to that, in order to carry the process one step further, I would like to focus on the data and the AI. Our fields are challenging. We need qualified personnel, and in this very hall, we are in a whole climatized hall. We can discuss, but in some farms, wind farms, the icing started, and the employees working in those fields are working and struggling with the nature. And these heavy and challenging conditions, they change the component, they interfere with the breakdowns, they do the maintenance, and their mobilization in the field is quite high. You have qualified personnel and you do that, but of course it's not sufficient. The conditions have changed, different devices are there. We are looking for the AI, practical use of AI in our houses. We need to maximize our technology use and we need to allocate resources for them. The data is very valuable, and as the company, we have become departments in the physical assets and the tools that we use, and also third party services, and also with our internal resources, with our own facilities, with those tools, we are trying to maximize these processes and we try to prevent the breakdowns of our equipments. We are trying to be proactive in managing the processes, and our sector has to go to this direction. We need to have a qualified personnel, but of course we need to have the technological backbone to support them without creating big costs of breakdowns, and we need to be using the data and the AI and use them in a maximized fashion. Thank you very much. Some part of our job is technology, and we can improve the efficiency thanks to the technology. You can foresee the problems in the blade operations and in tower and other operations, humanless drones, etc. Different algorithms, different measurement techniques are being used, and Turkey has been adopting it for the last decade. We have been making investments, the bureaucracy, the permission time, the turbines, the assembly, the commissioning, etc. We dealt with these matters in the last decade. But slowly, as we can see from this crowd, we are now putting efforts, serious efforts, to make these turbines survive. Is there anything that you would like to add on top of these matters from technological perspective? Do you have any efforts in that regard? Ferit Bey, Güney Bey. As you stated, the matter is about using the technology and data. That's the trend because the resources are limited, but the needs are challenging. The energy plants in Turkey, they aged. They're 15, 20 years old. And with this aging, there is a trend of increase in the breakdown frequencies. In order to make use of the data, of course, we do have projects. There are third-party companies as well in the sector, and other manufacturers and the producers are focusing on them as well, because traditional maintenance methods should be set aside, because not only reactive or preventive, we need to be having a forecasting. That's the proactive approach. That is the trend of the sector. That's the requirement of current times. And as the turbine manufacturer, we are trying to increase our efficiency, but we are trying to make the farms more efficient. And when you do the planning, supply chain, having a crane, etc., we need to be solving these matters, and we need to be maximizing the manufacturing processes. As Nordex, we are conducting breakdown analysis on the basis of components. And when we do that, you need to do the planning, right time planning. We should minimize the stop times and also trying to optimize the manufacturing process. But we also conduct performance analysis by making use of the data. And when we do that, we check whether there is an additional inspections required or corrective uh, precautions, we can take them. And in addition to that, on a periodical base, with some analysis in the components, the issues might be forecasted, and then the useful life cycle of the equipments can be considered. AI is something that we are trying to use actively. We are getting data from different resources and we update this modeling. And depending on the feedback and the outputs, we plan the field operations. Thank you very much. We are doing the same thing. We use AI in all farms, and we do have a partner in that regard. And apart from that, in vibration monitoring systems, in 3 axis, we can get data, we can measure magnetic systems, and we can analyze them early enough. These partners are local, right? Yes, we are working with local partners. We are trying to work with innovative methods in the maintenance services, and we would like to take one step at a time. We have very good companies providing this service, but in our country and all around the world, there are some companies bothered by that. So we are trying not to lose the energy. This is our target, and we are not going to be losing any energy. The turbines will work 7/24. As Enercon, we do have a digital twin project. It's still going on, and our main purpose here is to handle the maintenance cycle of the turbines in 3 parts: planning, preparation, and implementation. As you all know, in the last 5, 6 years, because of the global financial challenges, both Enerco side and the customers, they are trying to get the maximum efficiency out of the turbines, and they are looking for alternatives to do so. In the preparation part, the stocks of the components or the spare parts, you can deal with it somehow, and qualified personnel, technicians, you can come up with them. But in the implementation, in the planning part, both the manufacturer and the customer, they are trying to do their approaches, and they are now focusing on what they can do to maximize the manufacturing. No matter how many spare parts you have or how qualified your personnel is, you need to be focusing on that as well. And in order to prevent that, AI technology has to be used. As an Enercon, all the models of our turbines, we created them in the visual world, and we can get the data from the sensors from the turbine.
Onu kullanarak bu bir rulman olabilir. İçerisinde
This can be a bearing, this could be a cart, this could be a cabin. So before there is a failure, so that means before the customer is losing money or before the producer has a availability loss, you can see this failure on the digital copy and you can send the service personnel. So this has been done by this system, and we are planning to take this online shortly, and we are very well on our way, and we will start to give this service. Thank you so much for this information. So this type of information, this is not something we hear the first time here in this conference, but maybe we can share this information beforehand. Would be nice. So this is our call to you, because we know that you are very busy, and it is important to do the time management. So I want to make this call to you. So we are over an hour. So let's use our last 10 minutes for question and answers from your side. So if you have a question, please raise your hand so you can receive the microphone. Ercan Muti from Morgan Energy. Görüş. My question is to Ahmet Zorlu. So we are doing major operations to the mechanical parts, and we saw the assembly line and the machines. So I want to ask my question in 4 stages. The first stage is, what type of failures can be repaired? So is it, for example, cracks or alignment problems? What type of problems can be repaired? Secondly, what type of operations can you do? Like, can you hone it or put it on a lathe, for example? And thirdly, which parts are you repairing? And fourthly, what is the sensitivity? Is it on micron level or is it on millimeter level? Thank you, Ercan Bey. So I want to answer it following this. On the ZES side, we can only look at this maintenance when we are close. So when we would have a short, maybe a promotion tour, so come to your site and then you can have this information beforehand. So this sensitivity and how to answer all these questions, we asked ourselves, how are these repairs done globally in the world? So, and secondly, we looked at the correct information. How can we repair these bearings? And that's why we worked with Scheffler together. So how do we look at the problems? We look at the turbines predictively to find out with different analysis how when we can repair. So you have to measure or analyze the correct time to predict it. So you put out the part before it breaks down, but at the end of its operational lifetime. So we take it down, and afterwards we do also the testing after the repair, so the companies know that they are safe with it. So we repaired, for example, 22 of these generators and did also their tests. So you can come and look at our center, with which tolerances we are working. Dynamic equipment, the lifetime of dynamic equipment cannot be prolonged with your operations. What breaks down is the gearbox or the bearings. So when you are working with a heat applied bearings, for example, then you can prolong the lifetime of your bearings. So it has to be a special equipment. So we believe that we can work with a bearing which has a normal lifetime of 10 years up to 12 to 13 years. So for further information, we will meet at your center and receive this information. So are there other questions? Hello, Chidam Kender is my name, Unitic Engineering. I'm I worked on the manufacturing side for 16 years, worked also on global level, and now I'm on the supply side. Everything you're explaining here is very interesting, and nothing is in the black box now, and we decided to come together, to work together. So we want to strengthen our local works in Turkey, and this makes me happy, to be honest. So another question maybe, but the experience is very important. And on the supplier side, we are manufacturing, and we repaired our 78th main bearing. So we learned, but we're still learning. So the manufacturing the support. What is the support of manufacturing companies to us? Because you have trainings, you have internal trainings, but when we are saying the black box is open, what do you want to do in terms of support? Not only for repairs, but also for manufacturing of new parts, but on the highest quality level. So why didn't you want to give this to third parties? Because you had standards. We have standards, and you want to reach those standards. So give these standards also to us, support us, so that the suppliers in Turkey are strengthened as well, and we can put our generators online as quick as possible. Çiğdem Hanım, thank you very much for your honesty, and Gürkan Bey, Ferit Bey, do you want to answer Çiğdem Hanım? Yes, we wish you luck on your new route, Çiğdem Hanım, on your new path. Unitech is a company we know very well, is one of our suppliers, and we learned together and started working after we learned together. So for 2 years we waited for these processes, and whether or not if there are in compliance with the engineering side, and we learned a lot during this time, and we repaired around 70 main bearings, and these are working in generators now in wind turbines, and not only in Turkey, also abroad, like to countries like France, for example, and repairs are still happening, and we are also open to cooperation. And I hope we can continue to work like this with an increase in capacity. I would like to thank you as well, Çiğdem Hanım. Your contribution is important. As Elarco, we give training to suppliers and to service companies, but that's not enough. I understand what you mean, and we talked about this also in the meeting in Balıkesir. So this is something that is expected from us. And as Elarco, I can say the following. A failure in the component and repair of a component is something that we as Elarco didn't need as much. And we know that we received a support from Germany, not from Turkey. So because of lightning strike, for example, we never had a failure of a blade, for example, or a main bearing. So these are very low in numbers. That's why we never needed a support from local companies. But in the meantime, we have a lot of turbines. We have 1,200 turbines now, and for 2026, we are expecting to increase this number double. So That's why we will need the support of Turkish companies as well, because the availability guarantees are longer and will be longer. So that's why either we will receive this service support from local companies or we won't be able to give this service. So we are planning as an Archon to visit Çiğdem Hanım and her company. But is that enough? No. We have to be in contact with a lot of companies like that. So maybe with this session we have here, and Ali Bey, with your help, I want to declare here that as long as we're not together, we won't be able to build these number of turbines in Turkey. In Izmir, Zakademik, in Denizli, maybe in another location you will define. Maybe we can come together there with third parties, and you can talk in these meetings what is expected and what can be done. So I see there are no further questions. Thank you. So I would like to thank everyone for their support and their patience. It was an important session, and Çiğdem Hanım was very honest and frank, and that's what we need. And if you support this as well, the more we talk about this subject, the more we share the information, the better we see that this is not only a club for the manufacturers, but also of all of the stakeholders. We are all stakeholders in this. Without a manufacturer, there is no investor. No investor, there is no manufacturing, and there is no industry. Everything is connected, and everything is a national treasure for Turkey and for all of us. And I would like to thank you all for this support and thank also our panelists here. And to see you in another session, hopefully. Have a nice evening.
Teşekkür ederiz.
Sağ olun. Bir resim alacağız.
Hey, hey, hey, hey. Hey.